This is City Council Work Session Meeting Monday, February 9th, 2026. The time is 6:04. I call this meeting to order. Please keep in mind that this is an informal meeting due to lack of quorum. Please join us by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, can you please call a roll?
Councilmember Murray is absent. Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Present.
Councilmembers Hotchkiss and Matavetsky are absent. Councilmember Rathmel, present. Councilmember Dunn is absent. Council President Pro Tem Middleton.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will now begin our discussion in the Finance Department introducing RL 26-53 with Finance Chair Kavanaugh.
Chief. Chuck. Come on now. We have Mike. Oh, here we go. Evening. Working on it. Nice mind though, Chuck. That's great. So the gist is we're starting the academy early.
Our budget to allow for 16 firefighters to start the academy on March 2nd rather than April 1st. We think it's gonna, July is historically a pretty big overtime month due to the vacations. And it also has a health and safety aspect to it. It's, you get into near August, the training, and they got their live burns at the end of the academy. We just thought would have a dual purpose as far as being better for the firefighters and could hope potentially save some money, cut back in overtime.
So if it's going to save money out of overtime, we should be taking out of the overtime budget.
Yeah, well, it's gonna cut back on.
Chuck, so we're going right into fund balance for this?
Yeah, well, we could take it out of unused salaries, but I don't want to do that right now. If we can put this back into fund balance if we don't use all the unused salaries at the end of the year. In overtime, no, I don't want to use that right now.
But that's the reasoning, right? We're reduce overall overtime. All right. Just see, you've given some reasons why, but why are we able to do this year and it hasn't been a thought before with previous academies?
It was traditionally, we always started the academy in April. The thought was stay away from the winter weather a little bit. They're out flowing water and you're getting freezing temperatures. That can be a challenge sometimes. And but all in all, with the way the overtime budget went last year, we thought it would be more prudent to maybe try to cut back on that and put 16 bodies on the line in June rather than July. It was just arithmetic, just thought it'd be.
All right. Anyone have any other questions at the moment? All right. So we can't vote on expedition, but I will try and get finance to sign this out so it's on for Wednesday.
Thank you. Appreciate
And President Dundon will consider this RL for placement on Wednesday's business meeting agenda.
Still needs.
Sign out. Yeah, we'll sign.
Yeah.
Our powers combined. Our powers combined.
Yeah, we can sign it out. Yes.
Okay.
Because it's for expedition. Yes,
Yeah.
that's fine.
All
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you so much. Okay, now we are moving on to RL 26-39. And it is an MPA committee, committee member Rathmel. Can you please introduce that, please? Am I right? Yeah, no,
No,
RL
30
26-40, sorry.
39's in finance, 40 and
39.
41 are in.
39, oh, right, 39, sorry. Yeah, 39 first. Oh, right, it's still in finance with
No worries.
Chair Kavanaugh, sorry.
All right, well, Mr. Mayor, so 39 is going to be recruitment service, 40 and 41. Do you want to talk about everything all in one kind of go, or do you want to split them up?
I can talk about them in one full go. Obviously the finance part of it, the ordinance to amend, is simply just the money to make the following two proposals work based on the somewhat unexpected grant that we received for the personnel. So the funding portion of it is pretty straightforward. I can spend time digging in or answering any questions on the two separate proposals, or just give an overview of why I feel that these are important.
Well, as far as the finance part, we received a $95,000 grant, yes, that's going to fill in some personnel, take place some personnel funds. So that gives us some leeway to invest in these other endeavors, which would be 2640 and 2641, if you want to talk about them. I guess,
Yep.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to?
I don't want to step on MPA's
Oh,
toes.
no. Go
Oh,
right ahead.
I
Can
mean,
you
I
introduce
definitely
those
have questions,
40?
but I assumed we would
Yeah, just let the mayor.
Yeah,
go for it.
Sure. So two separate proposals. I'll talk first about 21P. So from the early days of me serving as mayor, the foundation of what I wanted the Binghamton Police Department to accomplish from public safety standpoint was guided by President Obama's 21st Century Task Force on 21st Century Policing. It serves as a framework for my role as mayor and commissioner of public safety in terms of what I want the Binghamton Police Department to accomplish. And it served as a framework for countless other agencies, large and small, all across the United States, with a focus on crime prevention, community policing, building trust with the community that police departments serve, and also understanding that the style of policing and what we've seen in terms of crime across the country and historically, the ebbs and flows have a lot to do with how police departments operate and how focused they are on community policing. So with taking those, the key points, and this is a document that still exists on the Department of Justice website. It's an outstanding framework. We have been able to deliver results in terms of crime. 2024 was the lowest crime year on record, and 2025 actually beat that. We've invested in hotspot policing, neighborhood foot and bike patrols, which have been wildly successful, and have, through having more manpower, allowed for more community policing. So as part of that drop in crime, and as part of that looking towards the next 10, 15, 20 years of the department, I think it was really important that we have professionals, some of whom were involved in the creation of that President Obama's task force on policing, to come in and kind of give us a status report and investigation of what are we doing right? What do we have to continue to improve? It can both document the successes that the city has had, how we are meeting best practices in terms of community policing, what the data tells us, as well as create a resource moving forward for long after I'm mayor to guide what the department should be doing in terms of community policing based on not just national objectives and best practices, but real data that we have in Binghamton on crime and on operations. So I think this is an important thing for the officers to see the results of their hard work, but also allow the city to take a critical look at what we're doing with community policing and what we have left to improve. There's a great thing that we're doing, the changes that we've made, but also I know that there's still a lot of work to do. I don't think often enough take a critical lens, especially in our larger departments. And I think this is an important piece. I also forwarded to City Council a letter of support for this initiative, and the other one I'll talk about from the police union as well. So that is the scope and the intent of this, and I think it would set Binghamton, continue to set it apart across upstate New York with community policing.
So I'll start really quick. Is that okay? So I had a question. So basically, this is like, I read up on this. It's very good, very respectable people. The people that are doing this are kind of the best of the best that are doing this. What my issue with this is, what policies are you going to have in place after? I totally support this, but I want to know like what is going to happen after. Are people, like, once they give their recommendations, are we going to see more community policing? Are we going to have other stakeholders in the community with this? Like, I don't feel comfortable with, I like this idea, but I don't feel comfortable without a plan without a plan. This looks good, and I think this would really help our community, but I need to know that every single person is on board to make this program go through. That's just kind of how I feel. Like, who are we going to be contacting after this? Like, what are we setting up? Is the leadership that we currently have, are they going to go along with this and accept what the assessment says and do that? So that's basically how I feel about this. I think it's a great idea. Looking at it, talking with people, it's really the best of the best people that we have with this program, but I don't feel comfortable with voting on this unless we have like a plan in the future to make sure that this is being, lost in words, but utilized. Thank you.
Mhm.
Utilized.
So a couple things. So part of it is that the plan or recommendations don't yet exist, that we have to get the firm on board to identify areas where Binghamton is doing very, very well with community policing and celebrate those and document those, and then areas where we can improve, or maybe some new best practices from when 2015, I think, was when the Obama task force came out. There may be even more cutting edge things that are happening. I serve as Commissioner of Public Safety. Ultimately, the buck stops with me, and I can tell you that I'm committed to this. I'm bringing it forward. The Chief of Police, Assistant Chief, as well as again the police union are all on board in support of it. I've talked to them prior to this. They want to not only identify areas for improvement, but again, as I said, also be able to document some of the successes and look at what our data says. So there is buy-in from all members of the department, and more importantly, me as Commissioner of Public Safety, to make sure that there is a deep dive into the recommendations. And I want to improve community policing, just as much as anyone.
Are you sure? Okay, so I hear you on the recommendations issued within President Obama's task force on policing and your representation of buy-in just now. There are several components of this scope, though: the landscape assessment, the stakeholder engagement, the impact framework, analyzing and making visible the data on use of force, complaint trends, really even the roadmap for sustainability, all were identified as goals within our own 2021 BPD reform and reinvention report. So 2 specific questions related to the goals of that report, specific to goal number 5, regular meetings to review implementation of the reform plan. So if we're talking about establishing a new outline, a new plan moving forward, and this was already identified as a goal back in 2021, what I'm trying to do is connect the dots on how that implementation was pursued and monitored. So can you share when the steering committee tasked with monitoring that reform plan back in 2021 last met, or what those monitoring efforts have been?
I wasn't mayor in 2021. I was obviously involved in that. It was a major project for BPD in the mayor's office. But as everyone knows, that process was a state mandated process that we had to go through. I think a lot of what was in the plan was implemented, and this will assist us on benchmarking and seeing where we've had success based on that community outreach. The implementation of a youth center was one of the biggest things that came out of that. And a lot of the community policing investments we've been making were key goals. Not obviously every goal was established or was met as part of that. But also I think to the tenor and public interest in policing from really a high watermark during the George Floyd protests and in the year that followed versus today is different. And I want to kind of meet the moment with what I think is a more kind of sustainable program. It's not to meet an executive order from the governor's office, but it's a Binghamton